expenditures. Next month will be within budget and probably have a surplus in expenditure, probably creating a surplus overall for the district on the year-end balance. So a little bit, of course, I would say salaries and benefits will probably, with the final payroll here in June, would consume what is budgeted based on everything we've been monitoring for the spring. So, I would anticipate that to be near 100% of the expenditure in terms of what was budgeted versus what we actually expend, because we are having those summer payrolls being expended out here with the June cycle. So overall, pretty pleased with how we're finishing the year as it relates to the budget. And I think a tribute to Mr. Landry, principals, everyone, Mr. Campbell, in the process of planning for the upcoming year, looking critically at every staffing position to potentially create some additional, if you will, opportunity to reestablish how you might want to expend funds moving forward, with the intention of having a surplus to possibly build back up, transfer into Fund 3. So that's really what I have to report on the financials at this point in time, unless there's any questions. Pretty pleased with kind of where it ended up. May's always a big month in terms of kind of seeing where the revenue comes in. Next item is something that I kind of monitored while I was out, but we've been learning as we've been going, and so what I tried to do for you tonight is give you a document that would kind of verify what does merit pay look like statewide. So the first item, if you'd open very quickly, when you hover over any of those items, it tells you the percent of employees in every district in the state of Arkansas that received Department of Elementary and Secondary Education merit pay. So that I think would be beneficial. I think there's going to be a lot more questions about this, because roughly when you start looking at those districts, some with as much as 8 to 9%, some is as low as 2% of the employee base receiving merit pay. When you have roughly 95% of the employee base not receiving compensation, you're going to have questions. And so you may be hearing a little bit about the Department merit pay design. So that kind of shows you how it's laid out across the state. This is the most accurate reflection on how you would receive the compensation provided by the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. So this is, I wanted this before the public so people could have at least a document to turn to that allowed for them to understand that where this data is basically being pulled from is the 21, 22, and 23 ACT Aspire schools. What we can't tell anyone in the public is what was the metric being utilized that determined the trigger point. We do know that you either had to be in the top 5% of the teachers statewide, or you had to be in the top, in the OR piece, the top 25% of the teachers statewide to be a qualifier for the merit pay program. In the original entitlement of this, as you go on down through there was discussion centered around the growth score. You can kind of analyze that. I would tell you that I wouldn't get too tight to this metric, because I think it's evolving as you move into the next year, as you move into the rules being written. But this year's state assessment test under Atlas is not reflected in this compensation that's here. So, because those scores are not back yet. So they went back to scores that where we had a teacher tied to a student over 21, 22, and 23 school year test scores. Of that, the other thing that you might be mindful of is that as teachers begin to understand how you access some of these funds, they can go through additional training that would allow for them to be considered in the third prong. Well, let's stay right here, Mr. Campbell, with where you're at, and talk about geographical areas. So there's a component of geography that falls into this. It does list some co-op districts. If you kind of scroll on down associated with this, we were reading, so those are shortage areas where you might have certain teachers in certain co-ops at certain regions of the state where they had a shortage that was significant enough that they might have provided money to those shortage areas. The Dawson Cooperative did not qualify for any shortage areas. And if you notice, there was special ed listed, computer science, other related areas such as secondary math, foreign language, and secondary science were areas that they gave consideration. The third bucket,
But
go
the
ahead.
Hot Springs District is on
Yes.
this list as other identified.
It's geographical.
Yes.
What's it called, geographical?
Well, it's
Shortage.
under that geographical area, so that highlighted area was a district within the Dawson Co-op, was the only school that did qualify for some of those critical shortage areas based on their lack of certifications in the district. And so you can look at that list and you can see additional schools statewide. Oddly or ironically, when you click on that, we noticed Pea Ridge in Northwest Arkansas was on that list. And so, you know, in that metric, I'm sure it's something to do with varied levels of compensation. It would be ridiculous for me to say how they arrived at that because it's too early to give an explanation of that. What I can do is tell you what's being identified. And I thought it was important for us to have this information available not only for our teachers, but also for our community. And then the final bucket down there where I was kind of going a little too early was in the area of mentoring and lead teacher. And so additional certifications are out there available that could make a employee a potential candidate to qualify for the programs as well. So you can kind of review that as this is directly from the department given to myself. We certified that the following highlighted list of teachers were employed with the district at that time, and it gives us the latitude to compensate these employees and the amounts provided. Susan Weisner, Abby Casey, Catherine Crawford, Katie Crawford, Carrie Sales, and Courtney Tomboli. Compensation respectively in the area of $6,000, $3,000, $3,000, $3,000, and $3,000. It does pay for benefits, so Tanya's received the coding from the state, so we will orchestrate, we will pay those employees, and then the state will reimburse us in the amount of $22,877 is what that looks like. So that's what the process is. And we knew in the fall, for those that attended the Hot Springs, ASBA workshop session, when she spoke about the merit pay, we knew very little at that point. This is the summation of what they put together for the current year and will be paid out prior to the end of this year. Any questions on that topic? Okay, the final item I have before I turn it over to Hayden is Tanya did run and got in here for us today. This is second semester perfect attendance numbers along with employees that qualified for 1 through 4 days. I'm going to go ahead and pull that up so I can make sure I read it correctly. So we had 15 certified employees with perfect attendance for second semester. We had 29 employees that had between 1 and 4 days of absence, and that was cumulative in terms of the year. So we had 29 individuals that did not exceed 4 days. We had 15 in addition to that had perfect attendance, and then we had 15 classified staff members with perfect attendance and 16 within the 1 to 4 day threshold. So you can see the total employee counts of 196 and 61, and then what we're rewarding them is $1,500 for perfect attendance and $600 for the 1 to 4 day absences.
Okay.
So those 15 perfect attendance are for the whole year.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
Switch them over to the $1,500
Mm-hmm.
for the year.
Good job.
So,
Mhm.
that seems to, it's an area where there's some intentionality and focus among some employees to strive to achieve that, and we want to compensate them accordingly for that dedication. And we thank them for that dedication.
Yes, it's been noticeable this year,
Mhm.
and when we get our reports, it's been very noticeable.
So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Hayden for a quick overview and update as it relates to some of the projects.
Yeah, I'll start off with number 2, Mr. Kemp's including that blue highlight from the McHenry Partnership. We sat down, was this about 2 weeks ago, Mr. Kemp?
Last week.
Was it last week? We sat down last weweek with our civil engineering team, Daniel George and his crew. Mr. Landry's in the room, Mr. Campbell, Dr. Murphy was out. I bragged on Daniel. This is some of the finest civil engineering I've seen since I've been working with Daniel. This is many, many hours into this. I think it's pretty perfect when we think long range on what that south or that southwest property looks like. You can see the terrace from the far left-hand side. Those terraces come out 12 foot and they go into a 1-to-1 or 1-to-1 cut, 12 foot out again, a 1-to-1 cut. You keep on scrolling through there. I'll go pretty quick. You'll have to look at this and zoom in later if you want. This screen right there, Mr. Campbell, is a pretty good example. Terraces are shown where his cursor's at on the far left versus what our current geography looks like now in the highlighted shaded areas. So shaded is current, where the terrace is at is future. So pretty significant cuts. We've spent hours trying to design which way the water flows, how it impacts the Saline River, watershed in general. So all that looks very good. So
Roughly, didn't you tell me it's gonna be roughly about a 60-40 split, where about 60% of that watershed, did you stick with about?
We did.
Okay, so
We
about
did.
60% of the watershed come back towards the creek. We will take about 40% of that watershed back into our campus.
Right.
Just so you're aware.
Yeah.
We couldn't take 100% of the watershed
To the creek.
to the creek.
Yeah, they wouldn't. They
They
would
wouldn't
not
allow
allow
it.
that.
We tried to get as much as we could.
You scroll back up real
Did they
quick.
say why they wouldn't allow it? Is there?
Well,
Just.
yeah, so when they plan, like you look at the bridge they just planned for, you know, they
Right.
study
Oh, I
the
see,
water
I see.
analysis, and they build bridges and everything based off a 30-year master flood
That makes sense,
of
yeah.
what could happen. So that's, that they did not plan on taking
Off the
on
current topography.
that much water
Yes.
through the Saline.
And with the water that's gonna drain 40% back our way, is it gonna go to any kind of French drain where it comes
Yeah,
outside the
it's
campus?
dispersed quite a bit. I mean,
Okay.
a lot of it, you know, it'll percolate. I'd say we'll probably see a 15 to 20% increase of stormwater going through our drainage system.
Okay.
But most of it will flow towards Safe Room B, where we're going to actually support that. So I feel confident that we're going to be okay on that. Go back up where it shows the detention ponds.
Yeah.
Couple more. One more maybe?
Here.
Yeah, so I think I said this in the last board meeting, don't spend a whole lot of time on it. This graph reflects a total of 4 retention ponds. 3 of them are temporary, and they will not all be 4 lit up or visible during construction. These, as he goes down. So the very far north one, you'll see Port Safer and B will come first, and the rest will come as he goes. The very bottom south one will probably have to stay long term. We can file against that once that time comes, and then come back and do a new study. But from Daniel, it's probably gonna have to stay. So,
And it'll probably be about where that current ditch is at,
correct.
in behind that clay parking lot that we have now.
And part of this, we will have to, the whole thing, we will have the fence off. So, Daniel did give me square footage numbers. I have yet to take it out for bid, just because it may Henry get started, it may be 3-4 months before we even need a fence. But I'll at least put out for bid to get numbers so we're aware of what to expect.
Okay.
All right, go back to the capital improvements list. Moving on down, our combi oven is set to be here on July 13th. Plumbers have already been out here, electrician's been out, so we're already prepped and ready for it. I highlighted everything in yellow that a walkthrough has been completed on, and it's scheduled to go. And I did add on one thing I haven't added before in the past. what are our maintenance guys doing this time of the year? We're showing a lot of contracted services, but Mr. Campbell, if you want to click on item 29. This is not live, I just exported this today just to show. So for the month of June, the guys, when I say guys, this is Joel, Josh, and John. I think I have around 51, if I scroll down. 54 work orders in for them. So this is kind of a rough idea what they do in the month of June. That's not reflective on the capital improvements list. Two last things I'll add is I'll walk through, we talked about doing a gate there at the Blacktop Playground area.
Mhm.
We decided to go with that ornamental style fence. Mr. Langer and I met about that. Tommy's Fencing will be doing that for us for around $8,100, 82.
Right now, that's just a gate.
That is
We're not
just a
fencing,
gate.
Yeah.
That is just a gate, manual gate, and it will open and close manually so we can get the Cisco truck in there if we need to. Last thing I'll add is, yeah, cheaper option. Last thing I'll add is our Verkada installs are done. We started that project probably in the second month of the school year. Did all in-house, and we just finished up Safe Room B, or Safe Room A last week. So your blue fob can go away, and you only want to keep your gray. I did run some numbers on that. If we outsource that, that would have been a total of $114,000 for the conversion. So our two guys completed over, yes, the whole school year, but us on that, we did save quite a bit of money on.
Nice,
Yeah.
good.
This is our school climate survey. This is just linked in just for review only. So part of the LEARNS Act, we have to have a meeting with our school board going over our school climate survey and our school site survey plans on the school safety side of things. So what we've linked in for tonight for review, you can take this and study it, but next month when we come back in an executive session, just review our safety plan. We have to check off one and get it submitted to the state. So this is a new requirement, part of LEARNS.
Okay.
So we did 4 surveys. We surveyed elementary students, middle school and high school students, parents, and all school staff. So a lot of it is safety oriented. So you see a lot of questions are more principal or Mr. Campbell based. By the end of the day, it still falls under a school climate and safety survey. So just take that
That's
data. Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
Yeah. And we'll revisit that next month.
And it's a huge number of responses.
yeah, it is.
So we can use this not only for the school safety, but also as we build,
Yes.
building and district level goals, it's a data point that we'll be able to draw
Reflect
from
on.
for those as well.
Mhm.
And the reason, just to
Yeah.
piggyback on it, the reason the community survey is in SurveyMonkey is because you'll remember that we had folks who couldn't, if they didn't have a Gmail address, they couldn't
couldn't answer
respond
it.
to our Google form.
Yeah.
And so we didn't want that to be an issue for anybody, so that's why we ran this one through SurveyMonkey.
Okay.
And the others are through Google Forms, because they all went to school Gmail addresses.
Yes.
Right.
So, that's all, I just wanted to make sure. Okay.
Who came up with the questions?
That came from our,
We pulled that back through,
trying to think of the name. It's two who we use
our
our site
reliability
survey.
schools.
Okay.
Yeah.
We used that survey, through, I think, pre-COVID.
Yeah, I liked it. That's a good info.
That's all I have.
All right.
Okay.
Mr. Campbell's up.
Couple things Mr. J wanted to share with you today.
So this was, we have a partnership with National Park as a career coach. So this is some of the things that Mr. Green has been doing throughout the course of the school year with Lunch and Learns. So he's been making contacts with business and workers to come out and talk to the kids during lunch, highlight what they do, let them ask questions. He's got a nice long list and a variety of jobs that he's been able to expose our kids to throughout the course of the year. And he took our group out to the draft day out at Lake Hamilton as well. He had a plan for the 4th graders to go out to National Park, but apparently the weather in May did not want to cooperate with him. So But this just kind of gives you a brief overview of what he does with his lunch and learns, and he's making contact with kids, trying to talk to them about careers and opportunities.
Yeah, he's definitely busy.
Yeah.
I've talked to him a lot about it.
Mm-hmm.
And the
The
second,
only other comment I'd add is I find that his demeanor and personality, kids are not afraid to ask him questions, or he's very
Yes.
approachable.
They love him.
It looked like a long list of people too, so.
Yeah, he's made a lot of contacts.
Just
Yeah.
wanted you to kind of see the impact of that program, so I appreciate him
Yeah,
putting
thank you
that
for putting that
together,
together.
and Mr. Jay for sharing.
and then the next one is tentative bell schedule right now for Saline County Tech Center. They do have a class that starts at 8 o'clock in the morning. So their time frames are a little different than what National Park runs. So you kind of see, we have a bus that will probably need to leave campus by 7:20 in the morning in order to make it there. So that's one of those, we have any kids who want to be in that AM shift, they're gonna have to be car riders. There's no way for them to get on a bus and come in. So they need to plan accordingly. We do have a way to get back and forth. One of the differences going to Saline County, it will cost our kids a class period. So basically, if I'm going to do this in the morning, I get back on campus at almost 10:30, then I'm going to be placed in the study hall, so we're not losing any core instruction time from them.
That's good. Do
Just,
we know yet how many will be attending?
We're anticipating around 25, because we're moving the juniors that way.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be 25 juniors?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, good.
Quick update on summer school. We have 61 elementary students who are in summer school. We are trying to do some of that catch-up type stuff that we've done in the past. Middle school, we went strictly by the school handbook, and that said that if you were failing 2 or more classes, then you had to attend summer school. So there are 4 middle school students who are in summer school this summer. And then Mr. J has 30 in the high school summer school for credit recovery. So
Okay.
that's what we have running in summer school. They are getting a little breakfast snack when they get here and a sack lunch on their way home. So we are feeding them a little bit as well. And then we'll come back to you, next month. We'll have the master schedules for the year with our staffing shifts and most recent changes. We're just not to the point where we're ready to share those with you,
Okay.
because they're just not ready yet, so. And that's all I have.
We don't have any public comment, so we'll go on to some new business. No, I'm sorry, board member comments. Do we have any of those?
Well, I just really quickly want to thank Dr. Murphy. This is his last board meeting
Yeah,
with
Last
us.
board meeting.
And I know it's exciting and sad at the same time, but I really just want to publicly thank you for your 8 years of service here at Fountain Lake. You've done a great job with our kids and with our staff, and we owe you a round of applause from your board members. Yes. You will be missed, but I know you're going to enjoy
You bet.
retirement.
Well,
Yeah,
thank you very
we
much.
appreciate you.
Thank you.
Agreed.
Keep it short. All right, new
Thank you.
business. Brian, will read the motions? No.
Oh, Cindy's not here? You want to read the motion?
Sure.
Go ahead, Brian.
Motion to approve the attached salary schedules for the 24-25 school year.
Everybody's had a chance to look at those?
Yeah.
All right, so, motion to approve the attached salary schedules for the 2024-2025 school year. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
None opposed, 4-0.
Motion to adopt the January 5th, 2024 updated and new policies excluding optional policies 3.56 and 8.46 that are not district policies.
And these are coming straight from ASBA,
ASBA,
the board
yes.
model policy?
And they are not your full amount of policies, they're not ready. This is what we received in January only, so you will probably have some policies in front of you in
I
July.
thought that.
Okay. So this is just the most recent
Yes.
release of new.
What's been released so far from
Corrections
ASBA.
and additions and
A lot of
things
it
like
is striking, wording,
Yes.
terminology.
Okay,
A lot of legal references updated,
Okay.
that sort of thing. There's not considerable change in any of the policies.
All right, so that's motion to adopt the January 5th, 2024 updated and new policies excluding optional policies 3.56 and 8.46 that are not district policies. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
None opposed, 4-0.
Motion to adopt all other existing policies for 24-25 school year.
and that would be our special policies, the Valley policies.
All
That'll be all
Or-
policies
All
as
of
they
those,
exist today.
Okay.
Because we don't know whether you're gonna receive additional modifications or not.
Okay.
This puts you in a position to open your school year July 1.
Yep.
Gotcha.
All right, so motion to adopt all other existing policies for the 2024-2025 school year. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
None opposed, 4-0.
Motion to appoint Darren Landry as the Dawson Education Service Cooperative Representative for 24-25 school year.
Any questions on that?
Just real quickly, that is a 2-year term,
Right.
and you appointed Dr. Murphy to that 2-year term last year, so you're able to,
Redo
this will count for.
for 2 more years.
Two more years.
Two.
Yes.
Yeah.
Reset that calendar.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
All right, motion to appoint Darren Landry as the Dawson Education Service Cooperative Representative for the 2024-2025 school year. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
None opposed, passes 4-0. I think that's all we got.
All right.
We're gonna let you close us out here.
Gavel us out.
Hey! 5:30 on the dot.